meeting of the Darien Beautification Commission. Welcome. It's been a while since we met. We cancelled last month's meeting. First item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the July 13th meeting. Can I have a motion to approve? Elizabeth? Seconded.
Me.
Tracy? Okay. Thank you. Alright, then second item on the agenda is vacancies on the Beautification Commission. We had a moment there where we were complete with 9 members, but Sue Oakey left to join the Commission on Aging, and Katie Jarrett had to leave because she moved to Stanford. So we have 2 vacancies, and I know I had a discussion earlier with Jackie about one applicant, Sarah Schwartz, and she had communicated on the beautification email, indicated her interest, and I thought she was pursuing that, but when I spoke with Linda O'Leary last week, she said there was nobody in the pipeline. So I'll follow up with Linda again, and maybe with Sarah, if you know her, perhaps we can...
Should Sharon follow up with Linda?
Yes, that's probably the best thing, because if there's some...
selectmen.
Well, but also if there's some delay at the DTC or RTC, maybe there's a way to get that on track. I find that
also had a neighbor who was interested in joining.
Yes.
And I think Kristen Nairati, I think she emailed.
And I sent her the link to the form to complete, but that was a long time ago. It was several months ago.
I think then she sent it back and didn't hear back. How should I advise her
to
do now?
You know what I will do is I will tell Linda, I'll give Linda both names.
Okay.
And tell her that the volunteer form was signed in both cases.
I don't know.
And
Well, at least in this case.
Okay.
yeah, in this case, yeah. And at least I did send it to Sarah. And I'll see what her advice is on following up. But there definitely is interest. I think people are just confused about the process. So we'll try and make that a bit easier. All right. So that's my task. Item 3 on the agenda. So in my spare time during the summer, I happened to be looking through our governing ordinance and realised that we don't have a vice chair. And we know that I think you no longer wish to continue as
I've left a replacement.
Note taker. All right. And it's some good news this morning because Elizabeth.
As long as you stay on the commission.
Yes. Elizabeth volunteered to be vice chair, so
Yay!
I would be very happy with that. If everybody else is.
I don't know why you should vote her in.
Oh no, well, let's do it.
It's easy.
She never shows up, she doesn't do anything, she's out for surgery.
Notwithstanding all of that, would someone propose that?
I propose it.
Okay, Tracy will propose. Elizabeth, seconded. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right. Should we vote to approve Colleen as secretary in absence?
She won't
She
do
did it one other.
I
Didn't
tried.
she already do it once in the very beginning? Colleen?
No.
Doesn't
she
matter.
must have.
That was
She
short.
will. I tried so hard to talk her into it. She
No.
said absolutely not.
I'm going to ask you because you're deep into adopted guardian now.
Yeah, I don't think I could do
Right.
it. What
I'm not a
about
good
one of our
secretary.
prospective new
was
members?
it?
Maybe they could do
I
it.
don't think I
The
can.
best way to do it is to watch the meeting recorded.
Yeah. Well, take notes at
Yeah.
the time and then write them up the same
John's
day.
recording
It's
the
fresh in your
saved
mind.
me.
That's
when
a
I
good
did it.
idea.
Because
The recording.
if you leave it, well, first of all, we have to post the draft minutes within a week of our meeting. If you leave it, you forget anyway. So, all right, with that in mind, did anybody want to do it? We have to have one.
Well, we have to find a new person then.
Right, how about one
Okay.
of these 2 new ladies?
Okay, but who's going to take the minutes of today's meeting?
I'll do it today. I'm doing it now.
You're the best. Okay. All right. All right, well, we'll have to hold on to that thought. At least our minutes will be taken. All right, we'll talk to the new people.
It should be like a passage. It should be, like a rite of passage to come on the commission.
Yes.
You gotta serve as
Yeah.
a secretary.
Well, I mean, many commissions, like ours, are working commissions, and there is a lot that we do physically and so with other follow-up after our meetings. It's not a kind of emotional role at all. All right, so next item is Alicia's wonderful spreadsheet on the adopter garden status. You will have a copy of that.
What do we have?
So the adopter garden spreadsheet.
I mean, it was very lengthy. I printed it out just to make sure we had one hard copy.
Yeah.
And I know I sent it a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
so just in summary, I visited, Sue had a list, but it was dated from 2011, so that
Yeah.
was the only information of record.
So did you just drive around trying to
I
sort them?
did, yeah.
That's okay.
And a lot of the ones that were on record for being maintained or sponsored by were no longer how it was signed. So obviously over the past 11
Yeah.
years, a little bit changed. So I updated the maintenance and sponsor for each one. What I still need to do is get phone numbers and if these various businesses have actual, office or storefronts that could be visited in person.
Well, that would be great. And can I just stop you? Amanda, were you going to work with Alicia on this?
Yes.
We have been.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's good because I think this is a lot of work for just one person.
I'm
So
totally
both
on
of you-
board.
Yeah, Amanda's been very helpful and
Great.
she had the great idea of visiting them in person versus
I
phone
think that
calls
makes a
and
big
emails.
difference because I've noticed that my emails in particular just seem to
Yeah,
go
so-
unresponded to.
One, it's
like
less
that, yeah.
persuasive.
Well, yeah, just also, did Sue give you the contact emails though?
No.
She does have a list because
Okay.
she provided them to me and what I did with them.
I can start with that. It may
Yes,
be
it may have changed, but it's a
dated,
good
but as a
starting
starting point. Do
Yeah.
you know if she ever gave the people that signed up to either sponsor or maintain them guidelines? Like, would you like to adopt it? This is what that means in terms of maintenance. Because overall, as you guys probably saw from the photos, I'd say over 70% of them look like they were planted 11 years ago or a
Yes,
few
yes.
years ago when they changed
Well, this-
ownership and
yes.
then haven't been
And this
touched
job didn't help.
since.
Well, this is the problem. I think that people get violent, get excited about the concept, and then a year or two into it, they realise it's a lot of work, and they can't necessarily track how much business has been generated by having the sign there. And if we are not on it, we're not following up, we're not encouraging really, then I think it becomes just a burden on people. And so we need to sort of discuss how we can make it more interesting, how I'm sure you two turning up is going to make it much more interesting for them. But I think if we can think
Give them
of
guidelines, but
Motivation,
that
well-
they need to, they really should maintain them at least monthly.
well,
Is there any contract? in
Is there
place?
any guidelines
Just-
or anything?
just
Written
before
agreement.
we go any further, you just mentioned, Tracy, that Christina had dropped off a pamphlet.
Yeah.
Is that simply an internal document, or is that
No,
something?
it was a printed,
But does it have guidelines for?
I don't remember. I
Okay.
meant to bring it and.
All right. Well, no worries. Well, if you could provide that to
I'll make a
Amanda
copy
and
and shoot it
Alicia,
to everybody
yes,
so you can all see
that would
it.
be great. They could look at that.
It was colorful and it had our name
Yes.
on it and.
Well, I think, yes, the marketing, but I think the number one problem with the marketing is as you drive around to these, it's almost bad advertising
Well, that's
for the
it.
program
Yeah,
because
yes.
we couldn't even, maybe there's one garden we could include a photo of to kind of sell them on, the high visibility location and, but honestly,
think
all
you-
of these do not look, I don't know, like I
You
wouldn't want to
can't
put
use-
my name on
no.
any of them if I
Well, and
was
that
a
was the
business
point I made in
owner.
the email.
Yeah, the
when I
only one that looks
circulated.
decent is the one by Henley right now.
Yeah, this.
Yeah,
I made
which
it-
was just cleaned up actually since I had gone by in August. I think maybe because school was gonna start. I mean, it was literally overflowing into the street. And one of the really poor ones is the Darien Border Realtor one.
Well, let's go through them individually, but that's the point I made in the email that I sent when I sent this around with other materials a few weeks ago, was that I frankly don't understand why a business would want their sign to sit
Really?
in a bed of weeds.
I would
I
go
really
pull my
don't.
sign out.
And yet this is, as you say, 70% of these islands are like that. And I think it's just, they get forgotten. There's an initial excitement and they get forgotten. So the question is, how do we maintain that interest? How do we motivate, incentivize businesses?
We go in.
Yeah, I think first we need to reach out to everyone and see if
Yes.
they're interested in continuing on. Like we always talk about the paw print market one. And then if so, we give them a set of guidelines, for the sponsorship.
Well, and just check with Sue, because I think a lot of this stuff has to have been documented in the past. And I will forward to everyone the email I sent out when I first started on the commission, urging them to use native plants and to really work on their gardens. And I got no response from anyone. I think as you go around, I love the idea of the personal visits, and I think perhaps one way of engaging would be to solicit feedback. What could we as a commission do that would help them? Is it a question of not advertising, but promoting the island, showcasing it on, we'll come to social media in a minute, or on the town website? Do we have I know we have to be careful that we're not seem to be promoting specific businesses, but there might be a way where we can promote the island and the work and the program rather than the specific business. So if you can get feedback as you go too, we could perhaps factor that into our approach.
And I don't know what the cost of our signage is, but
it's not very much. It's
I was
about
in Stanford
125.
recently, and their Adopt a Garden program, I actually passed by several beautiful, colorful ones. Like that's the main thing, is most of ours are just bushes, but they have white signage, so the letters of the sponsor pop more against that, because some of these, I know they're overgrown, but even if the ones that weren't, when I visit them, the green is the exact same color as the garden, so you don't get, and even me, if maybe we all kind of think, if you're sitting in an intersection or whatnot, turning into someplace, it doesn't stand out, so I think if we could switch to white or something where it's more visible while still being, tasteful and not loud.
Yes, you do.
Are there rules about the signage? I mean, there certainly are for businesses, like there are rules about
Well,
how big
these are
things
small
can be.
enough that I don't think they would be
I don't think it's
offensive.
offensive.
If I don't know if Sue gave you the name, but the company that she's used is Signs of Success in Stanford, and we just, I guess, not really thinking about making changes. We ordered a sign for the Norotan Heights Gardens. That was that same colour. I mean, if we change this, I think we have to do it throughout.
Yes.
We can't have a mismatch.
Well, and that would be a nice, kind of almost announcement that this is the
Yes.
new Adopt a Garden
Yes.
program. I think
Yeah, a new
people
look.
that may not have even noticed it may
Yes.
notice it.
And we can supplement that with, publicity. But I was just going to say that the Norotan Heights Garden sign was an adaptation. See, that's not really an Adopt a Garden spot because we're really doing it. But we wanted to give recognition to Jim Cameron's group for donating us funds for plants. So we used the overall format. We didn't put it in Adopt a Garden, we just put the names. But I really like the idea of zhuzhing it up.
And even the typeface on the green is a script, which
Yes.
also,
It's harder to
these are mostly where you're in a vehicle. So something where it's,
just put a text.
I don't know, just like a different typeface with the
Well,
white background.
I can give you the contact. Sue probably has a different person, but there's a lady whose name I can't remember at Signs of Success, who has who's very easy to work with, and she had said to me in connection with the tarping project that we'll come to in a minute that she'd be happy to create a sign for us to explain what we're doing there, and the signs that we use, those wooden ones on the metal pole. They're quite robust, and they're only, I think it's like 125. Then you have those lawn signs that are on the thin metal sticks, and they're even cheaper. I was thinking about something like that for a tarping project, but those are really more temporary. But I think she may have some, suggested fonts and layouts, and she'll be very good at giving you pricing.
But I think at this point, if it's September, if we rolled this out in April, new signs, new sponsors, new look, I think it would get a lot of visibility.
Yes, and just
and
revitalize
perhaps we
it.
do a like an appreciation
Yes,
kind of a thing, so that
Like in the newspaper.
in the
or
newspaper,
something.
but maybe
We highlight one
Yeah.
each month or
Has
something.
it ever been tried that you did a little friendly competition?
no.
Yeah,
Which could be good.
It would
like
be
a
very
vote on the
friendly.
best adopted
Very friendly.
garden.
Most creative.
Uh-huh.
Most, yeah, I mean,
Best
that's,
maintained,
yeah.
most creative, most colorful.
Yes.
Well, we do know that we have a couple of or at least one anyway, that is no longer maintained by the
Which one?
Which one?
person, Paul Prince one.
Oh, I know, I don't.
So that,
But they made that clear that they didn't want to do that.
right, so I don't think
But
we
they
should have
should
the
be
sign there.
removed.
Yeah,
Well,
we
yeah, the
should
sign
have
should be
pulled
there.
the sign.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, and in that case, it was interesting because they're, on theirs, let me double check, but most of these are maintained and sponsored by different people, with
Yes.
the exception of the garden club. So I have to look, but it would be interesting if they were doing the maintain and sponsorship of.
And also the one at the bottom of exit 11, I don't think there's a sign there, but we've been maintaining that out of just desperation because we've had Elder clean it
Mm,
and mulch it.
mm. And we are not, that's not sustainable.
David
We can't
Genovese
do
wanted
this.
one of the gardens. He asked me if I could try to get one.
Oh,
for his
absolutely.
garden. David Genovese asked if he could do one of the gardens.
Good.
And I think that was
Will
the
he
one
have a
that's
preference
11.
for which
Yeah.
location? Because I thought about talking to Jerry about it, and I was like, he's gonna want a specific spot, and I don't know how you handle that. Do you just, you get what you get?
Take Paul, well,
Well, I mean, you
They can
do
take
kind
a
of want to
selection
do your
of the-
business.
they can have a selection of the spots that are available.
For
How do you know
certain-
Paul Prince doesn't want it anymore? Did they say,
They
or
don't.
they just,
Yeah,
They made that clear to us
Yeah.
a while back,
so it
but
should just be yanked it so that,
yeah, no, but it's just a matter of nobody's gone over there to.
why
pull
don't,
a
if they
sign.
are a business in this town and they're like right in,
Could the contact just be not updated? Is it possible you're just not reaching the right person? Or they've changed their
No, no,
email?
Sue has been,
Yeah,
has
and
been.
what's ironic is that one used to be the garden center before it was
Yes.
Paw Prince,
Paw
so
Prince.
The garden
it's funny
centre-
that.
The garden centre is not interested in having one anymore.
Yeah.
Paul Prince, I think, was using the
Did
garden
we ask
centre
you?
to maintain, but Paul Prince doesn't want the expense.
My
of
daughter
it.
asked him if he would be interested in a different concept, but it was related to sort of a competition between the garden centers, and he was receptive, but I don't, she's 13. You know, who knows?
She's really cute, you can use her.
You take friendly, you guys are a good team.
Okay, so just so you know, the Norotan Heights garden that you have on here, that is ours. We are maintaining.
Which number?
That
The one
is
on the other-
on page
Do you want to start
14.
on the first one?
Yeah, we can go through. I wasn't sure if you just wanted a macro discussion.
Just
Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
because I don't have page numbers since I printed
starts
it.
with 12.
And the numbers are, the reason they're out of order is because I sorted them by like the ones that look good, okay, and bad.
That's
And then I was just referencing how Sue had
bad
them
list must be
originally
really long.
listed. So this is just when you get off exit 13, like as you're headed to like Splash Car Wash. This one looked pretty good. It's clear that Mateo has been there doing it.
I'm a bit confused here. It says sponsored by Reynolds, but Mateo.
Well, that's, the light green is what Sue had on record. That was
Oh, I
what was
see.
on paper,
Okay.
but when I drove
Alright, so
by,
they've stopped.
that
I
didn't align.
Uh-huh.
So Mateo is doing both.
Yep.
The next one, the roundabout at Good Wives, it looked good. I definitely think there's more potential there for color. But there was some and there were no weeds, so on
That's a
the
good sign.
bar of this, it was good. And that's currently by Erstat Biddle Builders, so again, that's,
Well,
you
they're
know.
the commercial owners of the Good
Yeah.
Wife Centre, so they're motivated to keep the
Yes.
entranceway attractive.
The next one, which is numbered 5 on Corbin and Old Kings Highway South, it's still the growing concern. So it looked like it'd been weeded and you could tell that it had been mulched this spring, but it is pure green shrubs.
Some
Um,
crepe myrtle or something.
the next one labeled number 14, this had no signage at
No,
all.
this is ours. This is
Oh,
what
sorry, yes.
This is the Norotan Heights
Yes.
garden that we've been talking about
Yes,
for the past
yeah, I'm sorry,
few
I
months,
just
and
forgot.
We now have signage that's up there, and Elizabeth has been watering all through the summer to keep the new plants alive. I've been subbing for her. We've been weeding. Colleen did a whole bed.
Yeah, I know
That's-
when I sent the photos, then you headed out.
And we've
We
been
did.
trying to get rid of those daylilies, so it's a work in progress.
The
So
next-
that one's under control.
The next one is the first one in like the medium category. So this says, I don't know how to pronounce it, Unganak McCool Landscape Associates.
That's Anganak with the M.
Okay, in the middle, an M?
Yep.
Or- Okay,
Mhm.
sorry.
They've been used by beautification before for work.
So again, this has been weeded, but it's a lot of, bare areas and just green shrubbery. So it's more probably that it was planted and now somebody's swinging by and weeding it, but not.
So how would that be treated on an annual basis? Like, will we be reviewing these for quality or some sort of
I
standard?
think that's going to be all part of the evaluation that
The new and improved program.
Alicia will be looking at.
You have the
with our
standards?
Revitalization.
Next one, this is by the fire station, the little sitting park on the post road. It was really overgrown with weeds. There was color in there, but also, I know this isn't us, but the benches in there were quite deteriorated and rotting, and the stones are all cracked, and so, I don't know, maybe the replanting would make it more inviting, but I don't know if there's someone in the town just to notify. It's kind of almost in unsafe condition.
You could tell Public Works, but I think this is a state road, isn't it, post road?
Yeah. But would the state have built this little
No,
pile
it would have
of
all been done
benches?
by whoever this was, Complete Design, this all originally.
They would have laid the stone.
I'm
and-
assuming, because
yeah.
that's not normal.
Or it could be the landlord on the building right next
Yes.
to it.
Next to it.
Next, number 2, Ledge Road at
It's been such a
N95.
mess.
I couldn't even see a sign, and this was a place where I couldn't hop out and see, but it was not impressive.
It
Probably one of the
collects
worst.
all the garbage too because it's not maintained, and I'm like ready to
Well, and
tell
it's
Public
really,
Works
it's
to
sitting in the center of a quite large area, so even from a visibility perspective, I don't know if this is one, I don't know, that you want to just plant grass there, because driving by, it'd be very difficult to even get credit for it being somebody's garden.
I was just thinking the same thing. Maybe in these, maybe it's too inhospitable to maintain in this particular location. But as we're talking, it occurs to me that perhaps what we could do is, especially with our new budget, is to buy trees, plant trees there.
Yeah,
Because assuming that's permitted, and there may be all sorts of visibility issues, but it seems to me that trees would have both an aesthetic result
yeah.
and then certainly an environmental result, and would, once they're established, require a lot less maintenance. So it's something to think about. I mean,
Or
I
even
think
they put the tall hydrangea trees or something. I mean, something to give
Would
us
that
some
be
pop.
Public Works, like partnering with them to switch that out, or?
no. This is all I think state property, which is why we have to have the permits to work on those.
On that one?
Public
But
works.
who would actually plant, like remove these shrubs and weeds and plant a tree? I don't know
Well,
how that works.
it's the people who are currently sponsoring this site want to maintain it, then the discussion is how are they going to maintain it, because it's not acceptable as it is. If they don't want to do it, then in theory we could take over if we get the right permits, and we could, out of our budget, that's what I'm saying, plant some trees that are virtually no maintenance once they're established.
But who actually plants the
Well, we
trees?
would-
Public Works or?
No, well, we could ask Public Works to do it, or we could pay someone to do it, or we could have a volunteer tree planting. So it just depends on how this, what the reaction is to
Yeah.
your visit.
I also just think it's kind of a hard sell when you wouldn't see the sign from where you're driving by. So if this person's interested, it may be better to switch them to someplace with visibility.
Well, I don't know,
Because that
maybe
used to be a very
I don't know
pretty
who's
garden.
sponsoring it currently, and why that spot was chosen, and why they liked it, why they accepted it. So presumably there was a time when they felt that it was worthwhile.
Remember, do
Did
you remember
people
when it used to be
pick
really
back
pretty?
then?
Yes,
They
yes.
they
they did.
chose which ones they wanted.
But all of these, they can't just be left. They need maintenance, and
Do you
that's
know
the
if-
aspect that's missing right now.
If Sue has followed up on maintenance ever, or?
Yes, she has.
The
And
ne-
usually when she complains about the mugwort and the weeds, there's an immediate weeding, but no sustained planting.
The next one, it's as you're leaving Tokenique Elementary or turning in. It's Richard Jones Landscaping. It's predominantly bare with a few ornamental grasses. So no weeds, but
It's just boring. It's not this,
nothing.
it's nothing
This
pretty.
is a terrible one. Number one, they use pesticides to kill the weeds.
Richard Jones.
Yes, because I've seen it, because I live 2 doors from this. Right now, there are hostas there.
No. Sorry, the last one's number 2.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
No, this is the one she's talking about. She's getting.
Are you talking about the one by?
Yeah, you're on the right
Tokenique
one.
School?
Sorry, I was just helping her.
Because that's not the one by Tokenique School. That's
This
the
is
Yeah,
the one by
but
Tokenique
this is
School.
Hollow
Tokenique
Tree,
School.
of course.
Sorry, do I have one out of order?
No.
Yes,
That's
yes,
when you
yes,
turn
yes.
out right at the post office.
Because yours
Make
says
the
the
right.
Yeah.
This is Lucas Hill Road.
There.
Yeah, but at
This is
the
where I live.
95. Yeah, but no, the one by Tokenique
I
School
changed the photo.
is down on Tokenique Road at the
Oh,
light by the
sorry.
school.
Since,
This is the Tokenique School.
Yeah.
Tokenique
Okay.
School is here. Lucas
Okay.
Hill Road is there.
Sorry.
no worries.
This description, I think, is wrong.
Which one? Here, let me just see.
I'm gonna see. Which one?
Locust Hill. I'm sorry, I'm on one that's numbered 15. It's possible my papers got out of order. And using the numbers on Sue's list, I'm further up.
This one's the Tokenique, that's Locust Hill.
No, I live on Lucas
Oh,
Hill.
you know
so-
what? You guys don't have this. I'm so sorry because this was not on Sue's list at all, and then she emailed me to add it.
Okay.
So
so
it
which
wasn't
one are you
even
talking
on
about then?
record. So this is, so you guys don't have it because we had no record of it. Sue had it and emailed me after the fact. If you're going in or out of Tokenique, it's an island right there on the Tokenique and Old Kings Highway roadway. So it's marked as Richard Jones Landscaping.
Can I just see that?
You
It's
guys
right
don't
at the
have
school.
it. We had no record of it. A lot of these,
I
as
think
I was
I-
driving around, I discovered ones that weren't on the master list. You won't
I
have
think
it
it
in
was
No,
there.
no, I'm not looking for it. I'm looking for another one. So, okay, so this is the one. What's confusing is that there's
Really
2
Locust Hill.
islands at either end of Locust Hill Road. One is at the intersection with Old Kings Highway, and the other is at the intersection with Old Farm Road. And I can't tell which is which. I think this is the Old Farm Road one
That is the Old Farm Road one.
with the tree.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is the one where they use pesticides. And right now it's full of hostas that will be eaten by the deer. So another comment that I think we need to make is that they should try to plant deer resistant to the extent possible. I mean, hostas not only are really boring, but they are
they-
deer food,
deer food.
deer fodder. And so I would say that
It's
it's
like
actually
sugar on a
dangerous to
bird.
plant deer food because you'll attract deer walking across these intersections. So there's 2 reasons not to do it. You know, want to encourage them to
Safe to dry the deer eating.
all right, and then, so this one, number 6 then, this is Locust Hill Road.
This is right by 95 there, right? When you come out of
Yes,
the post
yes.
office and you make the right.
And that was the growing concern. This one,
They had the 2.
Sue wrote to them about this one, and the one that's by the Corbin Development,
Right by the
I
post
think,
office, yeah.
absolutely full of
Yeah, those are the
mugwort.
same one, same company.
Yeah, mugwort and common milkweed, and they came and weeded. I don't think they planted afterwards.
Yes, it had fresh mulch, but you can see there's
Yeah.
0 plantings.
Okay. All right, so where are you now?
Do you have paw print market?
I think so.
It should be in one of the really unkept piles.
No, I saw it, but I've lost track.
Oh, is this it?
So what number are you?
It's-
Oh yeah, here it is, yeah, number 3, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the next one. Yes,
That's the paw print one, which we've discussed.
hideous, so it looks quite in keeping with the hideous infrastructure behind it. The rusty focusing on
But it's got
Bridge
potential, I mean, if it were
Yes.
maintained, when Elder did that one and he did the one across the street,
Mhm.
I mean, and he put fresh mulch, he pruned everything back, I mean, they looked kept and they looked nice.
But it's only for a
But
short
there's-
period,
But there's
because
nothing planted to give it
Yeah.
any
Well,
color.
somebody
or-
once a month need to maintain it,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and this is a narrow enough piece of land, unlike the other one we discussed, where you can see the sign, so it is a great location.
So is this a new opportunity?
Yeah, and that could be a good one for David, given that it's sort of near his, the new Corbin area.
You could take that one, or you could take the one coming off 95,
Yeah,
right by
right.
B of A across from Darian's Sports Shop,
Yeah.
that one, on that side. That would probably be, a nice.
well, if he's willing to
Or both.
do one or two and maintain them monthly, then he can
Right.
take any of them, he can take any
Take
number.
both.
And that would maybe make up for the trees that we lost.
Next I have, it's labeled number 7, the Mansfield at Tilly. So that's, I mentioned that earlier, the Darien Board of Realtors one. That garden has great visibility, and I feel like they would be on board with
They would.
getting back into
Well,
it.
I think that'd be great. And do you think that we could suggest that, even if it's on the Architectural Review Board planting list, that daylilies are not the answer? Look at these. This is what I'm going to take out at
They
Norton.
always look so dead when they.
There's like 3 days when they've got flowers and green leaves. And then also, I would ask them not to plant, I think this is burning bush, I can't really see the
It didn't look like burning
I think it's
bush.
like a red
Maple
boxwood.
or maple?
Oh, is it?
Or
It's not
maple.
maple.
Japanese maple maybe?
No, it's not maple. It's
Yeah, it looks
sticking
like a red boxwood.
out. But anyway, please make sure they don't plant invasives.
Should we bring a list of invasives?
Yeah.
So that
Of course, yeah.
Because some
Is
of
crepe
them are,
myrtle native
It's
or?
Canadian, I think.
It's Canadian. That's sort of native.
is it on the Darien Town Hall website, the list of invasives, or just Google
You
around?
can look on our website, the beautification website, we put in links to natives and natives.
At least the crepe myrtle would have color for the
But
fall.
they get so big, they
I
get
mean, in an
massive.
area like Ledge Road or something like that, you could use like exit ramps, But there are different varieties of them too. There are some smaller crepe myrtles as well as the bigger ones.
Next I
Next,
have
we'll make a farmer's market there in the summer.
number 10, near water at Post Road by Henley Elementary. So this did get cleaned up from this photograph. It looks fine.
CVS.
Next is CVS, so this is Oakstone Land Services, and it's pretty large because it runs along the sidewalk.
I've never seen it look like this, you must have taken it on a good day. Because usually it's covered in mosques and...
Yeah,
Just-
in person it did not look great at all.
No, I'm actually not wearing my glasses, are those all weeds? Oh, yeah.
Next, Sue had on her list Heights Road across from Vivala's.
Oh,
I don't think this was ever done because it's full grass and it looks nice as grass. I think we'd kind of be opening up a can. I think we should get the others under control before converting this to a garden.
Yes, I wouldn't take on new ones until...
Yeah. Next, Norotan at exit 10, I-95 entrance, also grass, looks good. I think, there was road work there years ago, so I'm guessing that
At which one?
changed over. If you're on Norotan and post 53 is on your right, and you're going to make a right to merge onto I-95 south. It's a little triangle,
Oh, okay.
and the curbs on it look newish, so
Yeah, they just
again,
did sidewalks and stuff in that zone.
I think that's been changed over.
There's a police investigation there right now.
Yeah.
Really?
There were 3,
3 shootings.
yeah,
Shooting?
yeah, the road was closed this morning.
It's still closed, I think. Someone's dead.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, they came off 95.
And?
I don't know.
There's a whole bunch of,
If you go to News 12, there's an
All
article.
right, let's
know.
not get distracted. Okay.
Next one, so this whole section of gray, it's the same situation. These are ones that are now grass and not gardens. So I'll kind of breeze by those. The last one is number 15, Tokenique at Old Kings Highway South. That's where apparently Thomas Costello was perhaps going to,
That's by the,
by the old, yeah,
old
the
dock
old,
shop.
yeah, exactly.
That one should be a really good one.
Yeah, it is, and it, right now it's grass with one plant on it.
Well, actually, somebody must have taken, there was a tree of heaven on there at one point, somebody took that down nicely. I think it might have been Chris Filner.
Who is that?
He's with the Land Trust, Sykeswood, and does a lot of forestry
that's the next
work
one,
in
so
town.
that's the butterfly garden, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The other ones, it's ones that we're doing now, the berm on Squab Lane.
You don't have the garden on Tilly there, at the Amy Smile Garden there, right?
Well, because
This
that's
is
not an
adopted.
adopted garden.
Okay.
These I just included because Sue had them on her list as adopted gardens. And then one of the later slides, I had a question. So the Welcome to Darien Gardens that are on the Norwalk side on exit 13 and another one are signed as adopted gardens, but the one where you're coming in from Stamford, it has a sign from the Lions Club. Is there history there of they maintain that one, but the others are adopted gardens?
Does it, okay, is there an adopt a garden sign there?
No, but the other two Welcome to Darien signs are,
Right.
but this one is not.
As long as they maintain it.
They do.
Yeah.
I just found it interesting that it was, that it wasn't consistent with the other two. And then the last slide you should have is on the corner of the Hollow Tree and Post Road. This is one that Kristen Nayarati, who was interested in joining, has been maintaining.
Do we have that one?
Yeah, it says new opportunity, it's at the end.
Yeah, I walked by that actually, and there are times when it looks really nice too.
Yeah, so she's just personally, because she lives on that corner, so she looks at it and drives by it all the time, so occasionally she's just been going down and weeding it, or.
Doesn't she want to join our commission?
She does, she's
She
the one who
does.
sent an
Oh,
email
wants
a
to.
few
Okay,
months
she wants
ago.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good.
So I think this is an opportunity, because this is a ton of drive-by traffic.
You know, there's also a beautification sign, the Power Squadron as you pull into Pear Tree Point Beach.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yep, so on a slide that looks like this, other questions I had, I have that noted. What are they adopting though? Do you know why they have a sign?
No idea.
Yeah, so
What do you mean? What are they adopting? It's the,
It's right
I
there.
don't know, I've
It's
never
a-
in Pear Tree.
There's a walkway, there's a little bench
Yeah.
there.
it's quite a
They've
big
got
garden.
grasses, they've got rose bushes, they've got, I mean,
Okay, see, it wasn't on Sue's list, so
yeah,
some of these.
but that, it's still got our logo of beautification.
I can go by that one. Also Complete Design, they had 5 gardens in 2011, but now they have none. So they obviously went into it big. I don't know the history, if they got over their heads by choosing 5 and then canceling out.
Believer, don't take on what you can't maintain.
Of course.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's always an issue. People get excited with the idea, and the reality is really quite different. It's time, it's money, a lot of effort.
It's a commitment.
It is a commitment.
What, do they know how long that commitment is? Is there any
there a
discussion about,
timeline?
is this for 1
Yeah,
or
we
2
need to
five?
give
We
them
need to really,
I
I've
think
got to
that's,
find that pamphlet.
and that should certainly be a
Where is the
discussion.
pamphlet? Where do you, like, you think you have
And
it?
that should certainly be a discussion
that one.
point.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
perhaps a 2 or 3
That would help it, maybe it
commitment.
needs
Yeah.
to be
Provisional.
probably.
Yeah, look,
You
just
know?
one at a time.
The pamphlet, if she finds it, I
Yeah,
think it
she's
just
gonna
needs
send
to
it
be
out.
rewritten and updated to like more of a current.
Well, I think we
You know.
need to know what that is and what that's solving for. We may need to have a separate piece that describes the policies and the program, and to the extent that, based on feedback or ideas of the commission that needs changing, then we feed that in and just start afresh. We don't need to be slaves to history. Unless it's for regulations
see what
or whatever.
works
But
for
I
us.
think we really have to make this work if we're going to have this program.
So the notes I have from what we discussed in terms of next steps, following up in person, seeing if they're interested in continuing, soliciting new sponsors, promoting and showcasing their work, perhaps on social media, reaching out to Signs of Success in Stanford regarding, changing the signs to something where they'll get more sponsorship visibility. Jackie's idea of having, a friendly competition where you could perhaps vote on the best Adopt a Garden, publicizing the winner in the newspaper, announcing our revamped program in the spring, having an annual review process, giving them a timeline commitment.
Yes, I think all of that's good, and just get that as you meet with them, solicit feedback, and you said that. Yeah. Because I think to understand the problems that the current sponsors are dealing with, that we can address, would be good.
I mean, one of them probably, in terms of having like the colorful floral plantings, is probably watering them. I can't imagine they've got the workforce to go out and
Well, that's
water.
why Sue had said that most of the people who are interested are landscapers, so it's just one more stop on what they're already doing.
Yeah, I think the watering though is more, coming by a couple times a week is probably tough.
Well, and that's the problem if you're doing annuals. It's just like with our hanging baskets. They guzzle water, they need a lot of water to look good. And that's why I tend to think that thoughtful native plantings that once they're established don't require watering is really the way to go. And not big, massive, sprawly things that are going to spread it everywhere, but there are some contained, even for hybrid natives that could be used that would provide some colour and really don't require the same kind of commitment to watering.
Established.
Yeah, I mean they need some trimming and dividing, but that's maybe once or twice a season. But anytime you have annuals, colourful annuals, you're going to face this watering issue. All right, well that was very thorough and really, really good.
Really great job.
And I think
Thank you both.
we are on the way to revamping that program. Thank you, Alicia.
And I know where that is. It's in my other bag.
Excellent. All right, item number 5. We were just going to talk about the gardens at Noroton Heights, and I did mention that a little bit just now. So Elizabeth was kindly watering during the drought. She was taking down big milk cartons of water and watering, and I was really resisting trying to put more in there because it was a battle, because Jim Cameron has been so keen to advertise the gardens, and I think I sent around to you the link he had for Channel 12 Westchester, and I was like, oh no, please, they're going to think that we don't know what we're doing. And I kept saying, just slow down.
They were nice tight shots.
Yes, it was really good. I think it was one flower and then the station name. So I think we got away with that, but it's made me feel really compelled to keep planting. So I've been putting in 1 or 2, going down doing extra watering. And I think I've put in now about over 20 plants, but you can't tell because they're very small. They're just, they're basically the extra plants we have at the slopes, and it's actually exhausting doing that. I have about another 12 at the moment, but I've held off, just putting them in because of the lack of water. So on that topic, I was thinking that it might be good if we could buy some more plants. Would everybody be okay if we just spent a few $100s on some extra plants from the road and get it up to snuff? I guess fall plantings would be good. And I'm also trying to get rid of the daylilies. Every time I go down, I dig up a few.
Yeah, you can always throw the daylilies on the berm.
Yes, yeah.
I
shouldn't chuck them.
Yeah. I mean, at least they keep stuff down.
Yes, yeah.
And the berm's never going to be manicured. That's a given.
That's given.
So, well, let's talk about our next cleanup then, which is the next item. I sort of like the idea of Narone because it's so compact and we can kind of make a difference and really feel like we've done something with the clean up there. Does it make sense?
But I think
Guys, does
if
that
we
make
have
sense
enough
to
of
you?
us, we can do more than one spot. We can split.
Well,
up.
let's,
I'm sorry, Jackie asked me a question for her notes.
okay. I was saying, would you agree that Narone High Station could be on our next cleanup?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it needs it.
Just thinking of timing, because if we order new plants, well, what's people's availability for this Friday?
I'm around Friday.
So maybe what we could do then, if we could do some weeding.
I'm away.
We're away.
I'm away
you're
too.
Me too.
Um,
Following Friday.
hmm?
Following Friday. Not this Friday.
Or
Following Friday.
The 23rd is
I
better.
could weed with you on Friday, and then maybe we can do some planting.
That might be good, because one thought is I'm ordering, for the pollinator pathway, I'm ordering some trees from Earth Tones, and I could just get them, and they're going to be delivered, and I could get them to add an order for the Beautification Commission, and then we could have them delivered, but they're not coming till that Friday. Maybe we could do it later in the day on Friday. Why not email everyone?
I think on the 23rd.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
because it sounds like people are...
I'm in the
23rd.
morning on the 23rd.
Okay, all right. Well, look, we'll never get everybody on the same day, so I'll put in an order for some more silene. I think the silene is the small plant we have bordering, and maybe some more coneflower.
Coneflower is nice too, because you can always divide it in few.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's what we're doing here.
About a gaillardia maybe? Is that a native gaillardia?
I don't know what it is. I don't know, so.
It's in the Coreopsis or Caliopsis family.
Oh, just remind me, I do want to talk about Coreopsis.
Right.
Okay.
Is it an invasive?
No, Coreopsis is a native, but
What's
come up
it
with
look
an-
like?
You have to
it has a
really
small
maintain it, though.
flower,
Yeah.
wispy.
It's like a daisy, sort of.
Well, the Coreopsis is usually small.
Yeah.
very
You
small
spell
flower.
it a K or a C?
I've come up with a name for
CLR.
natives that maybe spread a little too much, super spreaders. So we have an issue, but we'll come back to that in a minute. All right, so let's pencil the
Yeah,
23rd
yeah,
for
yeah.
sorry.
We can always put a few hydrangeas. I know they're not natives. But look how pretty they look.
Yeah, they look
Okay,
great.
so we'll pencil the 23rd for a cleanup.
And I do
Right.
get comments, working here at town hall, I get comments all the
All right,
time,
we'll-
all the time about how pretty
So
it
just for
is.
the minute, we're going to pencil in the 23rd of September for cleaning up and written. All right. Well, we can talk about the other planting stand in connection with item 7, social media account. Does anybody have any interest in running a social media, Instagram, Facebook account?
Do you know what the time investment would be?
As much as you want, really. Because, well, Instagram is easy. It's just
Yeah,
posting
I'm happy to
photographs.
do Instagram.
What's the purpose?
The purpose?
Mhm.
It's
As
to
a social-
publicize our work.
Okay, I mean, is it to put a spotlight on sponsors? Is it to?
It could be anything that's
peak
related to our
interest.
work. It's not, it's really to advertise what
What
we
we're
do.
doing.
Jim Cameron's point to me was that he didn't, he runs Channel 79, he said he didn't realize just how much work we do. And he thinks that that's a significant drawback for us, because if people don't know what we do, it's difficult for us to get volunteers, it's difficult for us to find new members on the commission. And he thinks our work should really be showcased, because we've done so much and we're just this sort of little known group that flies under the radar. And he very kindly offered to run an Instagram account for us. And I think that would be great. I think it's just another step, though, because we'd have to submit the photograph and the
Yeah. It's better if
hashtags.
someone within the.
the
Do you have to
narrative.
submit the photograph if you're part of the committee? Like,
No, if Jim were running
Oh.
our Instagram account, we would have to send him the photographs,
Oh, yeah.
the narrative, and the hashtags for him to put up, and it's just like an unnecessary step. I mean, it's wonderful that he's willing to do that, and is such a supporter of our work, but I think it would be better, as I said in my email, for us to have it in-house. So
I'm happy to do the Instagram.
would you? That would be great. And so I think what we can do then is each of us, when we have ideas, send photographs to Alicia, suggest hashtags.
And I think we could start, like same exactly as you said, when I mentioned to a lot of friends I'm on this commission, they're so interested and they're like,
Yes.
oh, I'd love to do something like that, but nobody really knows.
Nobody knows.
Like a great post would be that group shot we took when we did the hanging baskets. And did you ever photograph any of the hanging baskets once they were up? Like I don't know that people even know we do that. And that's,
It's
one of our
it's a
most
lot of work.
impactful
Right.
things.
As long as they didn't photograph the ones at Pear Tree Point.
Yes, and so we could also then, when they look good, photograph our gardens, like the slopes here, like the hydrangeas,
Like the
and
town hall
yes,
beds.
and the
Which
native
we
rhododendrons
clean up the tickweed though on the other side.
that we put in.
And even on Instagram, you can post the News 12 clip.
Yeah.
And
Yes. No, there's a lot we can do that really highlights our work and it could get it out there. So yes,
I'm sorry.
showcasing our yes.
Sorry, just before we move on, do you guys all have Instagram accounts? Because once I set it up, if you want to email me what your Instagram is, then because you can directly send it to people to add.
Yes, we can
that.
repost.
Yeah.
Well, I run the Darien Pollination Pathway Instagram,
Okay.
so happy to repost. And I often do take pictures and say it's the Beautification Commission, but I can't tag it because there's no account. So publicity about our good gardens would be wonderful. On the topic of not so pretty gardens and coreopsis, I'm rethinking the Veteran Circle, because the tick seed, pink tick seed, which is coreopsis, has gone berserk, and it now does look like a weed
Yeah, it
all
does.
over.
We should have let Mo Green mow.
I know, I was thinking that. I got so mad when I found Mo Green pulling them out. Don't you know those are native plants and that?
But they're too little to,
Yeah.
they're not
The thing
really
is
a
they
ground
got-
cover.
Well, they could be, because when you look at those plants, exact same plants, on the slopes, they're under control, they're small, and they're very pretty. On the Veteran Circle, there must be something in the soil, but these things have become these very spindly, tall weeds that don't look at all attractive. And so I was thinking that we could pull them all out. I'm not sure they're even good for the berm, because they're going to get lost on the berm with the bigger plants. So I think that maybe for now we could just put them on the slopes, or we could even put them under the birches.
Yeah, that would probably be a great spot.
And that might control it. The shade might keep them a little lower too. We could at least experiment there, so we're not losing the plants.
And what are you thinking about putting in their place?
Well, I think that the phlox, basically they're hiding the phlox
Yeah, right.
that's underneath, and I think once we pull out all the tick seed, the phlox can spread, and the phlox will be the ground cover, and I think we could also put phlox on the bare
Because they
patches.
redid the statues, the stones and things, and
Oh,
they straightened them
okay.
up and stuff. So
Okay, great. Well, I'll take a walk and try to get inspired after our meeting. If anybody wants to come with me.
Evenings here at Town Hall.
Yes.
Veteran Circle. I
Uh,
have my go-tos.
What office are you in now?
I'm in the registrar's office.
Okay.
So I sit and I watch the hydrangea all day long.
All day long.
All day long, I look out the window. And occasionally do my
It
work.
looks good now that I cleaned it up.
I know, it does. And I came out, I helped.
You did.
I bring
get it.
snips with me and
Yeah.
I clean things as I walk in.
Well, there was such a long period without rain. I came over one day and I clipped off the bits of rhododendron that were clearly not going to come back. And it looks like
And the hydrangeas look fabulous
I
right
think
now.
they look really good. They turn that very dark autumn colour, don't they?
There's some
They
real
have
bright pink
everywhere.
ones too, so.
Yeah.
They turned so quickly this year.
Yeah.
It's kind of bummed me out.
Stress. Cold
Stressed,
nights,
it's
I
stressed with the
It's
drought.
so quintessential New England.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
hydrangeas.
That's how I got her to go with
Natives.
natives.
That
But
would
the
be our
rhododendrons are
exception.
native, so, and they're big, so that's good. All right, so we're all agreed we should take out that tick seed and maybe try it under the birches. Question is,
We
who's
have
going to do
Small
that?
ward again.
Yes, but maybe, is that something that Elder could do? So we have a little room in the bushel. Can you pull out the tick seed and replant it for us? I hesitate to ask us to do it. I think it's a really big project for.
Let me take a look at it and I can.
I mean, it is easy to pull, but
Yeah.
there's a lot
It's probably
of it.
too much.
I think it's too much for us. It'll be time consuming.
We haven't used Wilmer at all this year too either. have
Oh,
we?
I'm anybody other than us.
Yeah,
Great.
If you could, would you do that?
I can
Check with
talk
all
to
of them.
Tracy, in your budget, do you, like project out in advance, like a budget for, the guys that help with watering and
Well,
larger
Elder
weeding
does all the
projects?
watering, and we know, we can
For
always.
the baskets, you mean?
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
baskets. And so I can always, well, I look at my Elder bills and they're,
So little.
they're like 3,000 a month some months, or depending how much water we're
Yeah.
using. And Elder did raise his rate, he's now $30 an
Everybody
hour,
does.
not 25, but he's still considerably cheaper than many of the other people.
But your question is a very good question, and I had, as one of my lofty goals this year, I thought that we should actually do a lot of projecting and plan out the year so that we don't bump up against a surprise of either having no money or a lot of money left over that suddenly we need to spend. And it would be better, I think, if we could plan out and allocate projected allocations of funds to different tasks. So I think your new project, the Adopter Garden, is going to absorb, it could absorb quite a lot of money. And I think that's very good, for signage, for, unless our sponsors pay for that, but, and some cleanup. And we don't have to be I feel we
If we
don't have to
rework-
use the Adopter Garden money for that.
No, but if we rework that adopted garden program where they actually pay
Yes, it
for
could,
things,
yes,
then we could build up that account again and
Yes.
use that.
yeah.
You know.
But in the meantime, I'm saying I don't think it's a problem if we use our operating account for that, because it's, it's overall work of the commission, and it's really significant if we can get all of those items and maybe new ones taken care of.
What is our annual, what do we get allocated to us annually?
Our budget this year was $31,500.
Okay.
And we just got that money in July. We had to spend all of our money down.
Well, so you can spend the,
Do they
Operating
ever get any
account.
donations?
yes, we got.
We have a gift
$500.
account, we
Yeah.
did get $500, which we used for things at New Rolton, because that's where the money came from. We did get $400 for Adopt a Garden from the American Recycling.
We get that every year from them, yeah.
So that was the first time I've seen that.
Oh, no, it comes every year. I think because I was away and I forgot to pick up the check, you got involved with actually getting it deposited. But I think they are the people who actually do the work of maintaining the Ostadt Biddle roundabout.
Are they a local, carting
No, they're from Long
company?
Island.
Oh.
I know, none of it makes sense, but it's good money. Anyway.
Well, some money anyway.
Yes. All right, next is the tarping project at the burn. So for anyone who doesn't remember, we have a terrible invasion of invasive plants at the burn. And we've received a $5,000 capital budget from the town. That's in addition to our $31,500 operating budget. Capital budget to help deal with those invasives. And I'd like to, well, think it's
But
essential.
they haven't paid that into our capital account yet.
Oh, okay, well, I'm sure it's forthcoming.
The town.
The town.
Juliet, how does that work? Did you ask them for that?
Yes.
Or, okay.
So, actually, maybe I didn't share it with you, but I was asked to, well, every year we have to submit plans in order to justify our budget. And I submitted a request for capital for this purpose. And what I thought I had done, but I'll send it around again if I didn't, is copied you on my submission form, so the justification for the capital, and also send you the operating budget request too, because that will actually help us help inform the projections that I want to do. Obviously, it won't be, exactly correct, but it'll
Give us a
help us.
guideline.
Yeah, good guidelines for moving forward. So we have $5,000 of capital that we can use on this project. I have a huge tarp sitting in my driveway that I can't actually move on my own, or even with two people. So that's donated by the Pollinator Pathway. We had lent it to the Land Trust for a while. They cut up and used a section of it. Now we've got the rest of it back. So that will actually save us money. We won't have to, I think we won't have to buy any. And the question is where we're going to put it. Tracy and I had been at the burn and seen a spot that looked like it would be conducive to setting the tarp down there. So we would, the idea is that you're basically strangling the plants, you're depriving them of light and oxygen, compact the tarp very, very tightly. But the thing is so unwieldy, we're dealing with a slope, we need to prepare the site. Ideally you do get a trench and you weigh down the tarp with rocks or soil along that trench. And it's all beyond, I think it's beyond what we as a group could do. So I'm really hoping that we could use Elder or somebody, a third-party professional to
You
help
need
us.
somebody really with like a backhoe to get in.
Well,
Does that
there's
process
two different
kill
things.
the roots?
Well, two different things. I'm thinking that the tarping is probably most suited to the mugwort. So, and that's what we discussed. We looked at
And
this
then
section.
not weed until it gets full-blown bamboo.
Right. So the tarping that we looked at, the area we looked at, was primarily mugwort. The Japanese knotweed has got to a stage where it is so massive, taller than us, that by definition its roots are huge and they're going laterally. Now I'm sure there'll be some Japanese knotweed root under our tarp, and that would hopefully be damaged in this exercise. But I think we're going to have to tackle the Japanese knotweed differently. I think even if we take up some root, there'll always be a piece left, and there'll always be growth there. And in my research, it seems that a way to keep it down is to keep cutting, so that you're exhausting the roots that have to keep regenerating. And I think that's probably all we can do, because even a backhoe is only going to get the stuff that's under the earth. And you know how it's all entangled with that infrastructure around the stream. There's that big drainage.
Oh yeah, there's that like gully that.
Yeah. And I fear that taking machinery up there is going to do something really drastic to the infrastructure. So I think we're going to be left with just cutting.
Well, we may have another issue.
Yeah.
I was just informed because I saw Dave, who has the pink dumpster.
Yeah.
Or dumpster man. I saw Dave this morning. He was telling me that the DOT they're doing a whole rail project, and they're rebuilding the platforms at Darien train station.
Oh, good.
When's that starting?
Maybe in the spring. He said there are plans in place, and they're taking all that cement out and they're putting in the plastic, because all the salt that they use on the platforms in the winter deteriorates the cement. So they're putting all these heavy-duty plastic platforms in. So I don't know.
Plastic platforms, eh?
Mhm. Mhm.
how long they'll last.
A rubber, they're like a rubbery plastic thing, so. But they don't get
It just sounds to
deteriorated.
me like one disaster after another, because if they're going to continue to use salt, I can't imagine that doesn't erode plastic and rubber at some point. Certainly affects our plants, or that and the spraying by the MTA. Okay, so
So that may affect
I think
top
it'll-
of the berm,
it'll certainly affect the top of the berm.
and maybe in a good way. Maybe.
Well, yes, that will get rid of that mugwort that's at the tippy top. This is, this is kind of an issue, because depending on how much space they need, it will affect our topping area.
Our grasses and
Yeah,
things, and
I know we've committed to the town to do this project, so I think maybe I need to follow up with Ed, Public Works, to find out the timing and the scope of the project and how it's going to impact us. Maybe that's why we haven't got our money yet. And we can't do it. All right.
Could we ever utilize, I don't know what they're called, I don't want to say ornamental rocks, but like small rocks on there to help kind of this idea of the tarping to suffocate, and it as like a year-round coverage for the
pretty
area?
boulders.
Yeah, like rocks. I'm sorry, I don't know the right
No, that's,
word.
we landscape that way in California.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
As long as
You mean
the kids
instead of
can't jump
plants?
off them.
Well,
Or is it
just to,
topping?
I'm thinking of ways to kind of just keep this tamed so that you have the ground coverage and the suffocating and the blocking the sunlight, and I don't know.
You need you would need a lot of rocks. When I do think they come up through, you can't get the seamless area with rocks because of the shape. You're going to have air. And you're
Yeah,
gonna be, like,
it
coming
would just
between
keep
them.
it
They'll
less open.
Right, it's less open. I don't think it's an alternative to tarping. I think it could be additional.
In addition.
Yes,
Yeah.
in addition.
Yes.
And also we could use them to keep the tarps down in place too.
Well, we'll definitely have to figure out something. If we don't have rocks for that, we're going to have to dig the trench and put soil on. That's what we did at the nature centre. But I think at the moment, at least, well, we don't know what we can do in light of the DOT developments. But I'll check on that. Assuming that we can do something, we'll work on whatever area we can work on that makes sense. And then we can just, well, I think we'll definitely have, if we haven't had the budget, we'll have time to, we'll have the money to pay a third party to help us too. And and I had been thinking that we could do this mid to late October, because I'm going to be away till about the 9th of October. So, okay. But now I have a vice chair.
She's not here.
No, she will be. All right. So then I put on the list the police department gardens, because it keeps falling off the radar. I emailed Chief Anderson, and I think he's so busy he hasn't responded. So I think I have no choice but to go and hand myself in and say I'm really sorry I didn't get to it. But maybe we can at least prep the ground for the in the fall.
Can you remind me, did they solicit us about
Yes,
this?
well,
Okay.
so the backstory is I later heard it. I had an email from Pam Geary introducing me to Chief Anderson and saying perhaps Beautification would like to take this over. And then I found out that that's because it was Parks and Recs
Of course.
responsibility, and they thought we might like to take it over because they're now doing, I forget what they're doing in Stockholm. They have another.
Great Island.
Oh, no, not Great Island, Highland Farm. Great Island was only a twinkle in the eye at that point. And so I did say yes, and then I thought that perhaps the Police Department could take it over, but it's, frankly, they don't have the budget. So I think that we could do these, but I think, again, this is something that we need to plan out and have help with, and we have the budget, we could do it. And the maintenance, apparently there's a lady at the police department who's willing to help maintain, so that would be wonderful in terms of watering and keeping things tidy. But I don't have her name, and so I think maybe the best thing is I'll just go to the police department.
Oh, I have a feeling I know who it is.
Can't just stop it.
She's on the left side as you walk in. You get permits from her for things. She's
At the reception?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll go in and I'll ask. So I'll just follow up with that.
Would it make sense, you know, to your point, like we discussed about kind of projecting out financially for the, like 2023, if we allocate money, like a section of money for people that come to us, you know, like the police garden, so that, I don't know, we take on the appropriate amount of
Yes, yeah.
those
Well,
things?
yes, they would definitely be included in projections, because they're actually a known quantity, and then we could keep a little contingency for, you know, unexpected plant losses or unexpected opportunities. I mean, last year we
You would hope nothing's stolen there.
no, I mean dying, not stolen. Last year we contributed to the compost initiative of Public Works, and I think that was good. That's another thing I'd quite like to promote on social
Instagram.
media, because we do have good partnerships with, now we have with Jim Cameron, and we have with Public Works, police. Oh, and talking of Jim Cameron, I have an interview with him this afternoon at 3 o'clock. He's interviewing the chairs of various commissions.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really
Okay.
he's really out there to
Uh-huh.
promote the work that's being done by volunteers in
That's
the
smart.
town. And so I was
It
Zoom
is.
with him.
Oh, there's so
People
many.
want to do it.
Exactly.
He thinks that maybe this will help our recruitment too, but I don't know, it depends how the interview goes. I'll try to make it look attractive.
We don't just read.
No,
Okay.
we talk a lot too. All right, budget.
All right. Well, this reflects the line account, or capital account, as you always say. Our balance as of right now is $27,900, and that reflects, we had for the end of our budget year, we had $68.58, and we made sure we spent that all down. And so then we got our new budget money of $31,500. You'll see there are a couple expenses in there. We have the June and the July expenses for the watering. June was cheaper because we were only doing watering twice a week. July we bumped it up to 3 times a week, and we probably should have bumped it up sooner. But,
Tracy, who takes those down?
Elder does.
Okay.
Yeah. Elder will come down. He'll take the hanging baskets down. The library, I think, takes their own down because they're responsible for theirs. They do theirs in the police station ones, and they hold on to their chains. And then Penny's group takes hers down, and that's it. And the bank takes theirs down.
Before I forget, I happened to be talking to Carolyn Bain, and she wanted me to know that the white containers that the hanging baskets are in are all recyclable. So can we get that word out?
What white containers?
The pots,
Oh,
aren't they white?
They were, I don't remember.
Yeah, they are, because they had the white plastic.
Yeah, dark.
they're baskets. They're
Oh, like,
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right, they're not white pots, are they? What am I thinking?
Your basket.
It's mush
there's the
with...
white insert.
Yeah.
There's the plastic insert. Maybe that's what she's thinking.
That's, I know, it's me, I misled her then. For some
So
reason I'm thinking they're white pots, they're not, are they?
yeah.
They're the Hessian and then the metal.
Mhm.
And do we recycle? Not the Hessian, but do we recycle the metal? What happens? Because the metal ought to be recycled.
Yeah, we take those get brought to the dump to the metal pile.
Okay, all right. Okay,
So-
never mind.
and then he returns the chains to you.
Yeah, and the chains get returned to me.
Okay, so the metal is
So-
recycled.
Yeah, and all the wire things that we
Things
take
that
off,
took off.
I
So
took all those to the dump to the
before-
metal pile.
Right, before we had the metal, weren't there white plastic hangers? Didn't they come in white plastic hangers? Yes. What did we take off?
Those metal, those
This
aluminum
year.
metal things.
This
Yeah.
year, but the year before.
In years before,
It's always been metal.
since I've been doing the baskets, it's always been
Remember we
metal.
needed the pliers to be able to get it off?
Yeah,
So you're probably just thinking of plastic.
No,
bags.
I do remember this. All right, never mind.
no,
Don't
maybe
worry.
another one of your
Let's
flower
just
organizations.
wipe this from the record because I think the brain freeze.
Yeah,
Okay, good. All right, all metal.
well, you can let her know we do recycle.
No, she's like me. She's forgotten the conversation.
Anyway,
All right, good.
so we're current with Elder. I just got the July bill actually, which also encompasses his work at the berm. So, and that's it's like another $800 or $3,600 for the work he did at the berm in July, as well as all the watering he did in August.
Is
So-
K&K elder? Sorry.
K&K is elder, yeah. Now we have to figure out when we want to take the baskets down to, I think probably the end of September we'll take them down. You know,
Yeah.
End of this month.
yeah. So, because we'll put the flags out then for Veterans Day.
Yeah, it's
and all
getting
that.
cold.
So,
It affects.
yeah, so anyway. So, and that's, I think, that's the thick of it. Joseph Landscape and Masonry was all the work we did at Town Hall, all the plantings and the
And the plants.
And the
Yeah,
plants.
the plants and the,
Mhm.
and the installation.
we
And they replaced.
yeah, and replaced the
one of
boxwoods that didn't, there was 2 boxwoods that didn't make it, and they replaced those. So I think we're in pretty good shape. So,
Okay. Good.
and we're gonna take,
Oh, no.
yeah,
Tracy, on the Adopt a Garden debit from July to August of about 3,000, do you know what that was
if you
for?
look to the right of the bottom of my sheet, you'll see the AAG account, we had 2268 and 91175. Those were, we used some of the Adopt a Garden money for Town Hall,
Okay.
okay, for some of the hydrangeas and plantings. So, and then reimbursement for the sign was 150, so. But now it sounds as though we could have a mechanism to build our Adopt a Garden account up, so that we can more readily use those funds when we're buying some plantings and things.
Mhm. And probably utilize it more within the program.
Mhm. So, we actually did a lot of planting this, beginning of this year.
We did.
So we, needed the funds. So there you have it.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Oh, wait a minute. I must mention just now, but on September 24th, so that's Saturday, the Pollinator Pathway is going to be having a native tree planting event at Cherry Lawn, and we've ordered about 30 native trees going to be planted along the edge of the playing field that's next to the nature centre. We're desperately looking for volunteers, so if anybody would like to come along, 8 to 12, to do anything, even if it's just water, it'd be wonderful. And,
I'm sorry, which day? September 24th.
yeah, Saturday. And the Pollinator Pathway got another grant from One Tree Planted. So 2,500. So that's funding the trees. And we're basically working with Parks and Rec, because that's their territory. All right. So wonderful if anybody could come. Nobody has anything else? Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn. Alicia, seconded. Mandy. Okay. All right. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And who wants to hold on to these, Juliet?